Good evening everyone and welcome along to League of Europe. We are here for Season 7 Division 1 round number 6 of the Championship as we take in the British Grand Prix from the Silverstone International Circuit. My name is James Hay, going to be taking to the stream as always on a Saturday night, and joining me in the commentary box is the four-time League of Europe F1 champion, it's Mr. NSX Montana. Montana, how you doing?
Good evening everyone, good evening James, yeah. Doing well, looking forward to this one. It's the biggest DRS train in the world, and probably an exciting race.
Yeah, it should be a very exciting race. Obviously, last season, of course, we had a fantastic race, and seasons before that, even here in Division 1, always Division 1, normally Silverstone, pretty much one of the races of the season. Coming into tonight, of course, Justas leading the championship on 73 points. Of course, with that race win under his belt last time out in Monaco, the first time actually this season he has won, and making it the fifth different winner of the season. Campbell there in second, ever the consistent in second on 61 points. He's 12 points behind coming into tonight. Of course, championship can't be won this far out, of course, at the start of the season. So, first two, obviously, miles above the rest. Connor, who has got a race ban in third, and I'll come on to why he's got a race ban in just a second. He's in third on 35 points. Jensen in fourth, his teammate on 34 points. Izzer in fifth on 32, along with Verstappen. He's also on the same amount of points. Yilbeam in seventh on 29. Nathan in eighth on 23. Dylan in ninth on 20. And Neo in 10th on 19. Then we have Rocco, Killer Blue, Packer, Ruta, and Jeroen round off the top 15. Stephen Kuhnblei, Marine, Pease, Daniel round off the top 20. Nothing. Rudy have so far scored points as well this season. Cantera, Macho, and Lix haven't. And obviously Montana coming into tonight, Justas leading the way. Campbell there in second. I think, honestly, it's going to be quite wide open tonight.
Yeah, Silverstone is always that weird track where people show up and show off their pace they usually don't have on other tracks. And it's usually quite close as well, because 90% is just full throttle. So we'll try to see if Campbell and Justas can dominate again, like they do pretty much all season in terms of consistency especially. And with Connor not here, they need to gain the point, because Connor seemed to have the pace on them. They need to build the pace and build a gap to them. But Silverstone, always a big gamble, safety cars, the most painful pit lane in the calendar, so everything can happen really.
Yeah, anything can happen and probably will happen around here. Of course, the home of the first Grand Prix ever held in Formula 1 under its actually own volition in 1950, of course, in its 72nd year this season in terms of the Grand Prix. Fantastic track, of course, to go around. I'll take you through the track in just a second. Mercedes leading the way, by the way, in the Constructors' standings at 93 points. Ferrari in second on 84. Bit like the olden days, to be honest, in terms of the top two constructors. Alpine in third, along with AlphaTauri. They're tied on 69 points. Alfa Romeo in fifth on 48. Red Bull in sixth on 42. McLaren in seventh on 38. Aston Martin in eighth on 34. Williams in ninth on 20. And Haas, they're down in 10th position on 12 points. And obviously looking at the constructors as well, Mercedes obviously got outscored by Ferrari last week, so that's why now Ferrari are in second. But the time before that, Mercedes obviously gained 16 points more than Ferrari, so really 9 points in it. The tides can turn out either way.
Yeah, and if Rudy shows up like he did last time in terms of pace and strategy, you never know if Ferrari actually might stretch it again on this track. Although saying that, Campbell, Verstappen, quite a good combination on this track usually in the past, so the chance is there for both teams to outscore each other, and we'll probably see some more back and forth this season between them. Maybe AlphaTauri, I still believe in them somehow, but today is probably going to be Ferrari against Mercedes.
Yeah, definitely so. Obviously coming on to why Connor got a race ban as well, he basically picked up too many points, and he's now on 31 licence points, I think, throughout the season. And he picked up, believe it or not, 28 licence points last week in Monaco alone. I've never seen a driver do that before in my life here in League of Europe, and it's obviously unfortunate that Connor actually obviously took part in that race and obviously got into that collision with Kuhnblei, and I said in commentary that he'll probably get a penalty for it and the stewards are bound to have a look at it. They gave him, in terms of the stewarding reports, just to run you through that, when I get it up, give me a second. Yeah, so the Kuhnblei and Connor incident causing a collision, 15 licence points were awarded for crashing on track, that was into the pit lane. 8 licence points for causing a collision, but that was with Kuhnblei. 5 licence points for NSX Connor, also for no POV, and because he accumulated Because he accumulated 3 points before that, 28 points in one race. As I say, even in Division 5 I've never ever seen somebody do that. So, with Connor unfortunately having a race ban, maybe this race ban just gives him the mental strength to obviously come back next week and really fight for the championship.
Yeah, I was actually already practicing for next week with him, so he's still in great spirits and he still can't believe he can win the championship, which he can. But I think he's got more penalty points than most drivers have got points in the season yet, so yeah, definitely a world record from that side in Division 1, I believe. But yeah, shame he's not racing. He usually loves this track, but we'll see. Not great racing nonetheless, and he'll be back next week.
Looking through the comments, Packer, who normally does Division 5, I believe he's still asleep, if I'm not mistaken. That is why he's not actually racing. The good old American time zones, I think, messing up there. So Packer is not here tonight in terms of Division 1. I'm under the impression he will be there for Division 5. However, if he's not, obviously, it will be J. Cole, not J. Cole taking to the action, it'll be RJ taking to the action, and I think Mark, old school, might be taking to the action as well for Division 5 to watch out for. How can somebody fall asleep before the start of their actual race? Remains to be seen. Maybe a hard night there for Packer, but Kublai, the first man out on track nonetheless, already a minute gone in qualifying, and Kublai obviously has had some good results in recent weeks. How do you think he'll get on tonight, of course, in the Williams?
Yeah, he's had the results, but he's already getting overtaken right now by Nathan, who seems to be in a hurry. But yeah, pretty open. I think he was not doing too bad in the last couple of seasons around this track, but I could say that about many drivers, so probably tried to bounce back after the disappointment of last week and the little incident he had. And just to add to the note of falling asleep, I actually fell asleep once here in qualifying and then woke up before the race. And that was an actual shambles, so I can feel Packer in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. So at least he hasn't got his live stream on this time, and unlike the 24 hours event, of course, that happened for, I think it was Daytona a couple of weeks ago, and people were watching him at like 8 o'clock in the morning here in the UK, watching Packer asleep in his bed. Quite serene, to be honest. Obviously, nothing really happened on that stream, so thank goodness for that anyways. Nathan's coming through the final couple of corners in towards Valen Club. He is going to be the first man to obviously set a lap time, and Nathan is normally quite quick around this track, so we should expect him towards the top end of the field as long as he obviously doesn't get an invalidation on his lap. We'll run aboard with the Relentless Man on the run up towards turn 1 at Abbey, and then of course in towards the turn 2 complex of Farm, and then in towards the right hand of turn 3 at Village, and breaks just before the 50-metre ball, gets the car rotated in nicely to turn 3. Now through the loop at turn number 4, and then on to Aintree, of course, where they actually used to hold the Grand Prix when Silverstone was getting modernised after the war. Nathan on the rundown in towards turn number 6, of course, at Brooklands. 27.2 through the first sector, down the hanger straight there, now coming through Brooklands, and then in towards the right-hander of Luffield, where, of course, Verstappen and Hamilton neatly came to blows in last year's Grand Prix, and, of course, we're going down to the corner, but it did come to blows in last year's Grand Prix. Nathan through Woodcote on the rundown in towards the old turn 1 at Copse, of course. No, needless to say, I've already mentioned it, Verstappen and Hamilton coming into collision there. Nathan coming through Copse. Very nice lap so far from Nathan. There's already a spinner through Luffield. That is the Haas, I think, of Licks who was spun. So Nathan now coming to the left-hander of Beckett. Then through into the left-hander of Chapel on the exit onto the Hanger Straight, this is. It's not the Wellington Straight, I was going to say. It's down the Hanger Straight, though. On the up in towards Stowe at turn 15. And this looked like a very nice assured lap from Nathan. Around 10 seconds from this point toward the line. So we'll be around the 1:25 mark, I think, in terms of this lap time. Nathan comes around the final corner. Hits now in towards Club Corner at turn 18. And on the run to the line. I'm not too far from my prediction. 26.2 from Nathan out on top. And Coombe Blythe behind. 26.6. So Nathan clearly setting the benchmark. And that's a very good lap time.
Yeah, that's a really good banker lap. I just looked at the time trial leaderboard laps before as Justas is losing the back end, just crossing the line. It was a bit down in the middle sector as well, but yeah, Nathan, that's a stonking lap to put in as Rocco even goes second. Oh, as Verstappen shows some pace as well, so people probably practice for this race a bit more than usual. A driver's favourite, not mine.
Ooh.
Yeah, Schulbream. You always forget about Schulbream, but he's so quick on tracks like these. So yeah, that's a massive first lap, not gonna lie.
Notable as well, Rudy has just gone fourth, 26.4, quicker than his teammate so far, so Rudy clearly liking Britain. He did perform, I believe, quite well around here in PSGLF3, of course, which I covered. Packer, by the way, is back in the session, which is good. I can see him there in the comment section. I'm glad he's woken up. Yildirim leading the way, Nathan in second, Verstappen in third here in qualifying so far at Silverstone. Izzet coming through the final couple of corners, and the Indonesian's just invalidated through turn 17 to the right turn of 18. He probably would have went towards the top end. He would have went fourth with that lap time, 26.4. We saw a lap time further up the field, and actually his Alfa Romeo teammate, I should say, Wuter, goes fourth, 26.3. P's now coming to the final corner, just preparing for the lap. The relentless man, of course, in the Alpine, but Yildirim out on top, Nathan in second, Verstappen in third, and pretty much the first runs are over and done with.
Yeah, we see only a couple of guys putting a set of mediums on, saving one fresh set of softs for the race. So, in terms of maybe there's a safety car late on, or if they go for the turn strategy that keeps them the best tires possible for the race. Medium's not quick enough for qualifying here, usually, but not too bad of laps from Giron, Campbell and Nuth, but not close enough to challenge the soft runners like we saw last week in Monaco.
Lix wasn't on a bad lap, actually. He's coming back into the pit lane. He was improving on his lap, but he has now, obviously came into the pit lane, and he's not going to be sending a lap time. He was around nearly 20 seconds up, I think, in terms of his lap time, coming just through the middle sector alone. But of course, he actually invalidated and got out the way of everyone who was on laps behind him. So that is why he's down there in 15th. Jensen as well, also into the pit lane behind him. He's there in 14th position at the minute. Pease, by the way, he's coming now through the middle sector, through Maggots and Beckett. Lovely run, of course. Daniel Kvyat famously got a puncture in 2020. Hopefully no punctures here tonight. And again, 103 flat through the middle sector. Pease a little bit off the time, but he should be going ahead of the medium runners, you would think. Yaron, Campbell, Nuth in terms of this time, as I swallow a fly, and Pease is actually just invalidated coming out of Stowe. Yildirim out on top though, Nathan in second, Verstappen in third. I better catch a drink before I swallow another fly.
Yeah, go for it. And just mentioning Stephen Osh is back, who's got a sensational podium in Portugal, I think. Don't think we have seen him back since, so great to see him back, and yeah, excited to see if he can confirm that result with another good one. I never know, as yeah, pretty much everyone is in the pits, done and happy or not so happy in the first laps. Just preparing, maybe making a slight setup change for the second run, depending on how the session feels. But people should have gotten their setups well and prepared for this race. No one on the lap yet at the moment for the second runs.
Verstappen, by the way, in the Discord server, saying Packer has gone AWOL next to his name. Ready up, lads. And he also said to him, if you do happen to be awake and end up joining, you cannot set a lap in qualifying and have to retire. So he can probably join the session, is what we're saying. As Stevens actually just invalidated, coming out through the final corner onto the Hamilton straight. So Stevens not on a lap. Somebody that is though, possibly going to be starting up on one soon, is the Red Bull of Neo. Neo calls down in P18 at the minute, the old guard pretty much of League of Europe. Yildirim though out on top, Nathan second, Verstappen in third. Neo hasn't got a lap time in at the minute, but with 10 minutes to go in the session, still plenty of time.
Yeah, plenty of time, and he's usually also really quick around here, and obviously has done lots of races in League of Europe. And he starts his lap, trying to get the best possible exit, starting lap. Tires in the perfect window, around 90 degrees. You want him to be easy flat in the first corner. Sometimes a bit sketchy and easy to invalidate, and absolutely unnecessary to invalidate. So yeah, that's one that wasted for him, and the pressure is just mounting now.
He must have been an inch over the curb there, to be honest. That was a perfect run through turn one, and the game just invalidated him. But just comes to show what the track limits are actually like around here, of course, at Silverstone. They are very, very potent. Campbell is on the lap, and Justas has just started up on the lap as well. So we'll follow on board with Campbell first, then go on board Justas for the end of his lap. 26.8, of course, on that set of mediums. Of course, both championship contenders on their laps at the moment. And Campbell now running down the Wellington straight in towards Brooklands. 27.2 through the first sector. We should see improvements around the 8, 9, 10th mark, I think, from a set of mediums to a set of softs. So you would imagine Campbell is probably going to go towards the top end of the field with this lap. Now coming through Woodcote Corner at turn number 8, and on the run down in towards the old turn 1 at Cups, of course, down in towards turn number 9. This is a fantastic track to obviously commentate over, and Campbell takes a very high 7th gear, actually downs it to get the car rotated in. Now nearly carrying 190 mile an hour in towards Maggots, and then eventually he comes in towards Beckett, and then he comes in towards Chapel. Onto the hanger straight he comes, and this is a quick lap from Campbell. He's 4.5 tenths up in the middle sector, so he's going to be going theoretically around Roots of Rudy sort of area, but if he can get out of Verstappen, I think this will be a good lap for him as he now comes through the right-hander of turn 15 at Stowe. Justas is also behind him out on track, and he's probably looking quite quick as well, as now Campbell comes through the final corners, in toward Vale, and then in toward the right-hander of Club at turn 18. Campbell now on the run to the line. Is he going to go out of Yildirim? No, he goes second. What's Justas doing? He's around the final corner, on the run to the line, and he goes third, and he's only a thousandth of a second off. Fantastic lap time by Justas. Great lap time as well by Campbell. They now split both the Alpine and the Red Bull, who were first and second. Yildirim's still out on top. He's on a lap actually coming now through Maggots and Beckett, and we'll see in his middle sector in terms of his time. I think he's improving Yildirim here, and he is. He's 900ths up, so already looking like we could get on the borderline of a 25 here tonight. More improvements further up the field. Jensen has just gone fifth, I believe, so good lap time from him. Obviously going to see more improvements as we go along, and Yildirim now coming in towards the final couple of corners, in towards Vale at turn 16, then in towards Club at turn 18, and Yildirim now on the run to the line, probably going to go quicker on this lap, comes to the line, and he does, and it's 800th improvement. Very limited improvement, but still an improvement that puts him nearly a tenth and a half clear of Campbell.
Yeah, Nathan getting a huge toe by Neo, and that's what you need when you are fighting for the top spot in this session. You need every hundredth and tenth you can get, so that was at least 1/10, maybe a bit more that he gained on the straight there, just due to the slipstream. Was improving already, so could see him go top here. Touched a bit too much of the sausage there, but it's just about not enough.
Ooh.
And Dylan,
What?
in the slipstream of Nathan, what a lap! What?
26 flat from Dylan. I'm speechless. I'm actually speechless. For once in my life here in League of Europe commentary, I'm speechless. Dylan out on top. It's not often you see a relentless driver giving an Excel driver a bit of slipstream, by the way, but the Dutchman now out on top. Yildirim in second, Nathan in third, and you were saying about slipstream, how absolutely important it is to get in slipstream around here, and obviously gain that time. Dylan found that time, and obviously improved ahead of him. So, Dylan, now on provisional pole position. Is more drivers going to improve further down the field? Nuth, by the way, is improving quite quickly. Now to the line he goes 7th, 26.2 on that set of soft compounded tyre, and gained around 6/10 on that lap. Kumblai, I don't think is on a lap. I think he might be coming into the pit lane here, the Dutchman, and yes he is. Rocco is not on a lap either. Pease is 102.8 through the middle sector, not too bad, but it was a 103 I think through the middle sector before he came into the pit lane. So we'll run above with Pease, now coming through the right hander of turn 15 at Stowe, in towards now the Vale section, of course, where Verstappen and Vettel famously collided in 2019, as now Pease coming around the final corner on the run to the line. This is quick from Pease actually to the line. He goes 9th, good lap time from him in the top 10, but Dylan Dylan all the way down to Jeroen so far with the lap time set, separated by 6/10 of a second. We've still got Jeroen to come on a set of softs.
Yeah, there are the small gaps back again. I'm not sure whether Dylan purposely tried to be as close as possible to Nathan when starting the lap, but he certainly made the most of it. Even if it just got a little bit of slipstream, that was a monster lap from him. So, really surprising, not gonna lie. But yeah, very well done from him. Perfectly executed, and he still got the run. Now he can just enjoy it and absolutely send it. Maybe break into the 25s, but you can see the gaps are already insane again. If you're P13 with a 3/10 gap to the lead, so Silverstone at its best, League of Europe at its best.
Marcio Ribeiro, by the way, coming into the comment section and saying Yildirim with a goat emoji. I think that is the case. However, he's now in second position. That comment might have been made when he went first, but Yildirim still there in second position. Stephen Osh now, by the way, is out on track. I think Packer has just joined the session as well. Obviously, he will retire or either get a setup on and then retire coming into the pit lane, probably with around a minute to go in the session. So the timings will glitch on the left-hand side slightly. Dylan out on top though, Yildirim in second, Nathan in third, and 500ths of a second covering the top three. And then it's a 10th of a second to Campbell, but then the next three drivers, Campbell, Justas and Izzer, are separated by 7,000th of a second.
It's absolutely insane. Each corner you need to nail on this track, otherwise you're just going to drop positions and positions. And on the final runs, where the pressure is so high, you will see people either just getting a big gap or just bottle their last lap. So, yeah. Also under big pressure, just to mention that, Stephen Osh and Neo, you don't want to start from the back on this DRS trainee track, so They need to make their laps count, maybe overfueling a bit so they can do 2 runs. They have the time, but yeah, now the times count for them.
Let's run above Stephen Osh as he just invalidated out of the final corner. And it's a this and next lap invalidation. That's twice he's done that now. On the exit of the final corner first time, on the exit of the second to last corner the next time, and Stephen Osh now, once again, invalidated on his lap. Will run aboard possibly with his teammate, Jensen. He is now furthest on, I believe, to start up on a lap. And now, what can the AlphaTauri do as he comes down in towards turn number 1 at Abbey? He was quick around here in PSGL F1, of course. Famously, the Etheridge and Aidan Carter obviously commentated on that race earlier on in the season. And Jensen was quite quick in qualifying, and he was up there in the top 10. So Jensen, with a pretty much a reduced field compared to what we had in PSGL F1, he should be theoretically going towards the top end of the field here with this lap. So Jensen actually has just backed off his lap. Either knew he was running ball with him, or he just wasn't happy with the start of his lap and he's backed off.
Yeah, I missed the apex of turn 3 and then just didn't get the best angle into 4. So yeah, brought to that. And Stephen Osh going for the ultimate one-shot qualifying experience. So is Neo probably right now. I'll have to see how he gets on now with his first maybe timed lap if he gets it together, but it looks already way better. Looks like a clean first sector, just slides a little bit. You can't really afford to do that there. Just costs you all the way down this straight. Seems to be the only guy on a lap at the moment, everyone else on out laps. 27.3 average first sector, so he needs to find time here, or aboard early enough so he can go for a second run. Takes that quite tidily, not known to go for really wicked or oversteery setup, so just keeps it stable. Maybe a bit low downforce. As Stephen Osh actually retired into the pits, he didn't have enough fuel, so he'll do the last to first challenge. And Neo just staying it flat. The downshift is quite famous here, just to control the speed and the rotation through cups. And then you see him on the exit with a lot of traffic, but Nathan, absolutely horrible slipstream timing, probably affected by the 2 McLarens there, who were a bit in the way, but yeah, couldn't repay the favour Neo did with him on the last run. Just staying inside the track limits, better than on the last couple of games, and you don't want to touch those sausages too much. He still gets a bit of a snap. That's a huge short shift, and yeah, outside tire temps just a bit too high, and he also will start from the back of the grid.
Yeah, too much throttle, I think, coming through turn 16 there in towards Vale, and that is why now, as Neo's actually been disqualified for going the wrong way. That is disappointing, but he is starting from the back of the grid nonetheless. Dylan's still out on top, by the way. Yildirim is improving, 100th up coming through the end of the middle sector. He's got a lot of traffic in his way, though. Peter's just darting out the way to the left-hand side, and that might just affect Yildirim as he now comes through the final corner. Alpine on Alpine coming through in towards Vale, but Yildirim to the line. He doesn't actually improve as a result. Nathan, what is he doing? He's just starting up on his lap. Dylan is invalidated, and Campbell is a 10th and a half up. Campbell's a 10th and a half up. And now, what can the Scotsman do? He's second in the championship, coming through the final couple of corners, through Vale and in towards clubs. Shirley Campbell, 25.9. Yes, 25.9. Good luck by Campbell. That still can be beaten though by other drivers out on track. Dylan was at 2/10 down before he got his invalidation. Nathan is up on his time, 1500ths up, so we'll run aboard with Nathan on a lap. So we will see more improvements, by the way, to the left-hand side. But Nathan looks to be the first one on the lap. Actually, he is physically now coming through Chapel on the run, and he's a 10th and a half up, and Nathan is looking good for pole position here. This could even be quicker than Campbell's lap time. What can the Brit do with his home track? Coming through Stowe at turn 15, on the run now down and towards Vale and Club at 16, 17 and 18. Nathan has got to get these absolutely picture-perfect corners to absolute perfection. Through 17, through 18, this is pole position right here. Nathan to the line, 25.8, and he blows everyone out of the water completely in terms of his lap time. Nathan out on top, Campbell there in second, Dylan in third. Anybody else on laps? Jensen has backed off his lap. Justas is a 10th and a half up through the middle sector. What can the championship leader do? 26.1 on that set of soft compounded tyres. If he finds a very good final sector, he's going to challenge Campbell for second, I fear. But now, what can the Lithuanian do? To the right-hander of 17, now through 18, on the run to the line. He goes fourth behind Dylan in the end. Slightly disappointing from Justas' perspective. Not sure if anybody else is on a lap. Is not on one. Yvonne goes 10th. Good lap time from him. Nuff is not on a lap. Verstappen is, he's 700ths up. Coming now through the right-hander of turn 15 at Stowe, now into Old Vale and Clough, and Verstappen needs a very special final sector to try and get pole position here as he comes through with Marine just joining in qualifying. Hopefully he doesn't cause a glitch. Verstappen now to the line, not pole position, he's on the borderline, in fact, in 11th position. Rudy is not on the lap either. That is the end of qualifying, and it's Nathan out on top. Campbell in second, Dylan in third. And I did warn you before qualifying started, Nathan was quick around here, and he's just proven it.
Yeah, a great lap from him, this time without the slipstream in the last sector. Saw the Ferraris doing some slipstreaming in the first one, so that was crucial for Justas to cement P4 instead of P6, I think. And you saw again that Dylan was trying to snatch himself the slipstream of Nathan, but just invalidating in the first sector of his lap, so he would have been on for pole if he could just follow Nathan closely enough. But yeah, what a lap from Nathan, really close grid. I think everyone up to P13 could say, if I didn't make that or that mistake, they'll be up there as well. But see some interesting guys in alternate strategies, but as close as we expected, I think.
Yeah, definitely so. And looking down the field, Nathan a 10.5 clear of Campbell, who in turn is 500s clear of Dylan, who in turn is 200s clear of Justas. And actually looking between Dylan and Jensen especially, or Dylan down to Rocco, in fact, there's a 10th of a second covering 6 drivers right there. Fantastic driving from everyone. There's a 1,000th of a second further down the field covering Isra and Euron, and that's for 9th and 10th position. Very good qualifying though. Jensen is back into play then, just retiring, waiting on him to retire. Packer, by the way, in the comment section saying he keeps getting the no audio, no MFD glitch, which is so unfortunate. Of course, there was a patch update earlier on in the week. No racing for me, and he says sorry. It's totally appreciated. At least you tried to get into the session. But obviously, glitches really is this game's title, to be honest. Nathan out on top, a 10.5 clear of Campbell in second. Dylan there in third. Justas in fourth. Crucial for the championship early on. Campbell clear of Justas in a position ahead, actually, of where he's supposed to be. So Campbell there in second. Justas in fourth in terms of the championship. Yildirim there in fifth. Pease in sixth. Top 6 covered by 0.2 of a second. Jensen, Rocco, Izza, and Jeroen run off the top 10. Verstappen there in 11th. Nuth there in 12th. Good to see he's actually showing the Ukrainian flag. That is very, very powerful, of course. Kumbla there in 13th. Lix in 14th. Woods there in 15th. Rudy in 16th. Stephen Osh in 17th. And Neo rounding off the 18 drivers. Both drivers at the bottom, Stephen and Neo, didn't get a lap time in. Fortunately for Neo, of course, he got disqualified for going the wrong way. But Nathan out on top, in pole position. What can he do now in the race? He's a bit of a specialist around here in Britain. Either he's very good on his day around here, or alternatively, his races can go pretty bad around here.
Yeah, either he adds to his beautiful collection of penalties around this track, or he does well. So he just needs to stay in the top 3, keep it within the lines, or just abuse the track limits in the right way, and he'll be up there. Just in keeping in mind, if the alternate strategy with safety cars don't get too lucky, because that will just throw the first 10 guys under the bus. But Nathan looking good, having the pace over 1 lap. A full race distance is a bit different, especially with setup choice, but yeah, showing how strong he is on some tracks and that he could win races this season if he just gets it together.
Well, we gave him the moniker of King of Portimao earlier on in the season, and look what happened there. He didn't perform at all in Portimao. Hopefully, we're going to be getting this race after a first-time start. There was a 30-second countdown. There is now a new 30-second countdown starting, so this is now the actual countdown going into the lobby. I think we're up to 19 drivers as well. Marine has joined the session, but he's actually just been told on Discord to leave the session because he has got desynced to everyone else in the lobby. And I had this last night in the IFR Esports Cup event around Belgium, and desync is never a nice thing to experience. We have to postpone the race in the end as a result because of so many glitches, and the game, 8 months into a game cycle, it shouldn't be doing this. It should be pretty much right as rain now, and unfortunately Codemasters still belligerent to obviously not update the game, which I think is unfortunate for obviously us paying for the game, you guys experiencing the game, and obviously us commentating on the game as well.
Yeah, it's just a glitch simulator at this point, but yeah, it's just a bit sad, to be honest. It destroys the league racing part of it. They're not paying enough attention to that, just focusing on huge career modes with whatever cinematics. Hopefully a bit better next year, but yeah, have to deal with it. I can't really do much about it and just make the best of it. So yeah, Marine has left the session now, and this guy going around in AI mode. Hopefully that doesn't make things awkward, but yeah, just have to deal with those kind of situations.
Yeah, you do. And Marine, obviously, down there in P19, his AI really shouldn't affect anything out on track. Stephen Osh, by the way, has just been disqualified from the session. I wonder if he had a mistimed break or something, and obviously didn't get a setup in, and that is why he's down there in 17th position, disqualified for, I think, going too slow on the formation lap. So, Stephen there, in 17th position. Marine, unfortunately, in terms of his connection, obviously couldn't, with the desync, obviously, that the lobby would have had, probably the right step to obviously get him out of the lobby before it actually desyncs, and obviously creates an absolute mess for you guys at home, of course, as viewers, and for us in the commentary box, trying to keep up on where he actually is out on track. I think the Suku that desynced the lobby last night, and exactly the same thing probably would have happened around here as it did last night, so don't want a sense of deja vu. Looking at the strategies, by the way, what we haven't came on to yet, Top 10, of course, qualifying on that set of soft compound tyres. Licks and Steven, interestingly, set of soft compound tyres to start off the race. Everyone else, Verstappen, Nuff, Kuhnblai, Wouter, Rudy, Neo and Marine, all on that set of mediums. Take Marine out of the equation because his car is going to be running in AI mode. He's down there in P19 position. But what's the best strategy around here? Because I always think set of softs can probably last around 8 or 9 laps. Mediums could probably last 20 laps before you come in into the pits.
Yeah, the mediums could literally do a 24-hour race in this track, so they shouldn't be an issue. And yeah, easy one stop. We don't want to see that pit lane more than once. You mentioned Stephen Osh getting disqualified, just saving the tyre wear in the formation laps, like we used to do in the good old days. Lick's going for soft, just gambling at this point. Safety car can come out any time, but he might be a lucky one and just jump a couple of guys.
Oh
yeah,
no!
James. Oh.
Marine's car has shot off, coming through turn number 1 and 2 at Albion Farm, and that means we're going to have to wait an extra lap for Marine's AI to get round the track. And this is exactly the same glitch as what we had in Austria a couple of weeks ago, where a driver had to forcibly go through in AI mode. I think it was it Jensen, I think, who was out of position in Austria, and he had to go round for another lap. Luckily it was in human form. This is AI form. And this just comes to show what an absolute ridiculous shambles and a disgrace that this game actually could be. As Nathan has left the session, I wonder if by getting a lobby restart, looking at it, and we are, I think, we are going to have a restarted lobby. Verstappen is going to set that up in due course. Marine, though, can actually fix his game, though, which is positive, so he can actually race down at the back of the field there in P19. And unfortunately, with Marine's AI car, obviously not taking any risk, I'm going to leave the session. We might have to start the stream as well, because if it's anything like last night, obviously you leave a session, you can't rejoin back. I've had that glitch plenty of times. And unfortunately, you just have to listen to us for the next 10 minutes of blathering on about goodness knows what.
Yeah, actually almost a bit of a shame. Would have been an interesting start with everyone on 50-degree cold tyres. But yeah, obviously, in terms of fairness, that's the right thing to do. And just hope to get them in as quickly as possible. People are asking for one-shot quality, which is ambitious. And people want to go to sleep. Yeah, fair enough. I think we just have to do custom grid, obviously favouring some in terms of tyre wear, but us, that's not a big issue here, so shouldn't be game-changing in terms of tyre wear or something. So,
Is it just telling Jeroen to shut up, by the way, in the Discord server as well, which is good. And I say to Jeroen as well, one-shot qualifying would have been good, but not everyone would want it, that's the thing. And obviously the stewards will probably come and maybe hunt you down. And we obviously don't want that to happen, of course, given what is happening in the world at this moment in time. We're just waiting on the new lobby invite to come out. As I say, we might have to break this stream up into 2 parts, because if I can't join the session first time around, as the invites luckily have just came out. So, hopefully, fingers crossed, first time I'm going to be joining the session. I hope so, anyways. And I have. It's connected up very slowly into the lobby. There we go. I'm in first time, so that is fantastic. We'll be able to set up the grid very soon. Probably on a brand new delay, I think. So, that means for 5 minutes we can talk about what happened, of course, in qualifying. And Nathan, out on top, as I said, we called him the King of Portsmouth early on in the season, as I've just pressed spectate mode, and it was very laggy there. But Nathan obviously out on pole position. Where do you think he'll go, of course, from the start of the race? Because on that sort of soft compound tyre, he's going to have a very, very good drive from Campbell, of course, in behind him. Will Campbell pressurise him into the opening corners?
It's tricky to start on the inside in P2 on this track. You don't want to really be close to P1 because turn 1 is quite tricky to go side by side with. And Nathan usually gets good starts, Pat. But yeah, it's so difficult to break away. But if you can just make use of maybe people behind him battling a bit, then he can pull that second gap. He might be gone, but as I said, it's really hard to pull away by anything on this track. Slipstream, DRS, so powerful. So yeah, will be interesting. I think we'll stay together, but you never know with Nathan and Campbell and Drew Bream and whatever is happening behind. So it will be an interesting start. Side by side, as I said, through turn 1 isn't always going well, so we might see some crashes in the midfield as well. But probably everyone take it quite cautiously, especially on the restart now that everyone is a bit cold and not warmed up anymore.
Yeah, definitely so, and obviously we have this restarted lobby. Top 10, of course, in qualifying would have started on a worn set of soft compound tyres. Now they've got that advantage of not starting on that worn set of soft compound tyres. They're probably going to go a little bit further into the race than what we're imagining. So I said around lap 8, lap 9. Is still that correct, or is it going to be a little bit longer, maybe to lap 12, lap 13, I'm thinking?
Yeah, it could be longer, but it could also be a bit shorter for some guys because they would anticipate people going along and just going for the undercut. But the soft is quite a durable tyre, not really creating issues at the end of the stint, so will be interesting, exciting to see whether people go for undercuts or just normal pit stops, and if overcuts actually work with this fresh set of tyres now. Should save them about 8-9% I think maximum the restart now, but yeah, definitely changes the strategy up a little bit.
Definitely changes the strategy up a lot, I think, in terms of the actual race. Obviously, drivers could go a little bit longer into the race, they could go a little bit shorter, come in, try and get the undercut out of that DRS train, which I think is going to be so prevalent, of course, on the opening laps of this race. And a reminder as well about Silverstone Circuit, the Silverstone International Circuit. Did you know there's actually 4 different layouts of this circuit? Well, 5 including the MotoGP layout. There is the Silverstone Grand Prix layout, there's the MotoGP layout, there's the International Circuit, where it gets its name from, there's the National Circuit, which British touring cars run on, and there's also the Stowe layout. And the Stowe layout, famously, here in the UK, was on the last episode of The Apprentice, the new series of The Apprentice that started over here, and they had to organise a track day, and Jessica Hawkins, of course, W Series driver, was doing that as well, and it was absolutely fascinating, I think, but it got a real good insight. And looking at, obviously, that episode, I didn't actually realise how unbelievably big Silverstone actually was, because it's absolutely huge.
I would like to comment on that, but I forgot that. You lost me with that.
Basically, what I'm saying is the Stowe circuit, I think it's been in one of the past Gran Turismo games, if I'm not mistaken. The actual Stowe layout is the karting layout, where obviously they do the national karting around there. And it's actually off the track. It's in, I think it's in Buckinghamshire, the Stowe layout. While half the track is in Nottinghamshire, of course. Northamptonshire. And obviously, going across the former airfield just brings the absolute historical significance of this actual track, and of course of that event. And if you watched the episode of The Apprentice that I was on about, well done for actually realising what I was on about, because probably the 9 viewers that are watching don't have an absolute clue.
Yeah, me neither, but I agree with you. The track is definitely in plain sight.
Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Is Apprentice worth watching?
It is worth watching, especially if you like arguments in the boardroom and everything like that, and you like Sir Alan Sugar, who's obviously the guy that does it over here. But I recommend it.
Isn't he a bit salty? Okay, stop that. Yeah, go on.
You might need some peas with that.
Oh, thanks.
Anyways, I think we're pretty much good to go. The final drivers, I think, are probably getting now sorted into the actual grid order. We should be good to go very soon. Hopefully no more glitches. Everyone is in the lobby. We are up to a full 20 driver grid as well, with obviously Packer and Moraine being allowed to race. I think Packer, because he didn't actually join in qualifying, Moraine will be ahead of him. So Packer, I believe, will be starting P20. Marine will be starting P19. But at least it means, though, with this extended start, Verstappen just ran up in the lobby indicates that everyone is now ready. So, 30-second countdown on. Who is your pick, Montana, for the race win? Because obviously Nathan's on top, Campbell in second. Who do you think is going to win?
Jewelbeam is going to win. Campbell second, Eustace third.
Pretty much
Yours?
taking my exact prediction there, to be honest.
Oh,
Yeah, I
enough.
think Yildirim drove such an astute race, I think, last season around here. He actually, if I look back on last season, he was in the top 3, I'm fairly sure. He was in the top 3, drove an absolute phenomenal race last season, and the time before that, of course, he was in the points once again in Britain. And I'll just run through, of course, what actually happened last season in Season 6, when I get the actual standings up, and obviously you took the championship, and around here in Britain last season, you finished second around here to NSX Connor. So it was an NSX 1-2, and finishing third that day was Rocco. So anything to go by. One driver's obviously retired into the commentary box with me, another driver's not here in terms of a race ban. Rocco, in theory, should win this.
In theory, he should win this, yes. And I can tell you, retired, maybe let's call it a pause, because some driver will be back next season, but yeah, that's something else. We might have an issue though, because Mr. Jerome is on the toilet and having a big one, so we'll see if he fixes the setup or not. But yeah, great stuff.
Never ever have I had a co-commentator say that to me in God knows how many years I've actually been doing commentary. Absolutely unbelievable. Hopefully Jeroen isn't caught short on the toilet. Hopefully he can actually get back and take control of his car. If we see him leave the grid, then we know he's actually back, and that's probably the biggest indicator. And he is actually moving, so he must be back. He hasn't been caught short, and of course he's starting on that set of soft compound tyre as well. And looking further down the field, of course, top 10 qualifying on that set of soft compound tyre. It is a fresh set of soft compound tyre that everyone is running on, compared to obviously what we had in the first lobby. Predicted one sub strategy has just came up on my screen. Lap 11 to 14 onto a set of from a set of softs to a set of mediums, and also from a set of softs to a set of hards. And if AWS are really thinking anybody's going to go on the set of hards around here, you must be kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it would be foolish to go on hard, since like I've done that in this game already. But yeah, also another interesting strategy. I always give as a little tip to my drivers. If there's a safety car lap on, put on a set of mediums or hards. Go to the end, and you'll be better off than stopping after and like lap 10 or something. So take that in mind with you if you want to. And yeah, glad to see that Jeroen is moving and using his last second weight reduction to his benefits. But yeah, looking forward to this one. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it is going to be a good one. Of course, Nathan out on top, Campbell there in second. They were separated, of course, by just under a tenth and a half in qualifying. I think Nathan could come back to his best here tonight. I really think he will. After Portimao, he needs a little bit of retribution this season, and I think retribution might come here tonight. So I'm definitely going Nathan for my win. Now that I'm saying that, he probably won't win. Yildirim, I think, is going to finish second, because obviously he drove a very, very good race around here. He only picked up 2 points, but I think he was at the top end of the field in terms of the race. And I think he got spun on the final couple of laps, if I'm not mistaken, last season. So Yildirim, I think, will finish second. And for third, I'm going to go Jensen. I think Jensen's got a good chance around here. Qualified 7th, normally quite strong in the race, especially if it's going to turn into rain conditions, which I don't think it will tonight, but you never know around here at Silverstone. We are moments away from the British Grand Prix getting underway. Nobody has left the session, luckily, within the formation app, so we should be off to, hopefully, a first-time start here as now drivers rejoin on the grid. That's a beautiful camera angle, by the way, looking over the grandstand from the actual exit of the final corner. Beautiful run down in towards turn 1. There is Nathan's running towards turn 1. There is Campbell on the inside line. If Campbell gets a good start, he will probably draw alongside and get the inside line in towards Abbey, and he might well take the lead down in towards turn 1. Let's find out though what is going to happen. The British Grand Prix is about to get underway. Season 7, round 6 of the championship, and it is Lights out, and away we go, and Nathan gets a very good start. Campbell as well, though, will tuck it into the slipstream, and Nathan will lead down in towards Abbey at turn 1. Campbell there in second, Dylan in third, Justas in fourth. I think Pease and Yildirim got shoved out there slightly. Yildirim loses the position to Pease, and a good start actually. He's up to 5th as Jensen has dropped 2 positions off the start. In towards Abbey and in towards Village now for the first time. Nathan leads the way, Campbell in second, Dylan in third, Justas in fourth. Yildirim side by side again with the Alpine. There's a spinning car in the background, and then there's Kuhn Bloy who's been caught with Rudy, and Rudy's been disqualified from the session already for going the wrong way. That is an absolute disgrace. Yildirim now coming on the inside line in towards Luffield. He's on the outside now for Luffield. P is still on the inside line. Both Alpines are fighting. Hopefully there's an L plan in this race between them both. And Yildirim now, he's through and he's into 5th position and will get the run in towards Cops. Chaotic start further down the field. Everyone else I think clean through. Nathan leading the way, Campbell in second, Dylan in third, and already the front two putting away by 5/10 of a second as Izza and Rocco are nearly going side by side in towards Maggots and Beckett's. What can the McLaren do though? What can the Alfa Romeo do on the back of the McLaren in this DRS train? I think he'd be inclined to stay in behind for now. Jeroen just in behind on this as well. I don't think we're going to get any overtakes down and towards Stowe. Nathan leading the way, Campbell in second, Dylan in third. Apart from Kuhn Bloy and Rudy, very, very clean start, and you have to feel sorry for Rudy.
Yeah, that was just unfortunate. Got spun and then drove in such a direction that he got disqualified.
Oh, so, contact!
Bad luck, and someone else is gone.
Jeroen. Yeah, I think Jeroen and Wouter had a little bit of contact coming through the final couple of corners. Jeroen was certainly spun in that. Wouter has dropped a couple of positions behind the likes of Nuth and Lick. So, Wouter now down in 13th position. Obviously got caught up in that incident. Packer, by the way, the American, trying to go over on the outside as Marine is spun coming through turn number 1 at Abbey. So, Marine is off down in P19. Maybe not having the juice set up on, of course, with them joining the session late as Packer is all out of shape coming through Aintree. And now Lick's on the back of Nuth. This is for 11th and 12th. Currently the final point scoring position, and Lick's down the inside line, makes contact with Nuth, and he escapes the scene as if he hasn't done anything wrong. I was on board with that. He did do everything wrong. Lick's now down into 11th, up into 11th position, but at the expense of Nuth spinning, and that was an incident that could have easily been avoided.
Yeah, it's just they're dropping like flies at the moment. Every couple of corners, one guy spins out or something. So Nuth will definitely have enough of that. Try to make a comeback, but we have another yellow flag as Marine again. So I don't know if he forgot to put on a rear ring or something, but he's definitely in trouble. And that's race over at the moment for him, excluding any safety cars coming up.
Yeah, he's already had one spin, so those rears have probably got quite heavy in terms of the tyres, and obviously he was ended up spinning again, and probably those rears are shot in terms of that actual the carve out on track. So he might come into the pit lane, maybe even retire the car. Nathan, by the way, leads the way. It was 0.3 of a second coming down in towards Stowe. It's now 0.6 of a second as Marina spun once again through Daniel Kvyat corner through Maggots and Beckett's there, and Marina spun once again. He's down there in P19, not going according to plan. Stephen has picked up the first 3-second penalty of the night. Nathan leads the way though, holding out a bit of control over the race. Campbell there in second, Dylan in third, Justas, the championship leader, on the back in fourth, and the Dutchman is now going to come under pressure down in towards Brooklands, but not going to get the job done. I think nobody is really going to be close. Verstappen on the back of Ism maybe, but still, they're in 9th and 10th position. Nathan leading the way, Campbell in second. Nathan make a mistake just coming through the exit of Luffield there, because it was 0.5 of a second, now gap backed out to 0.7, and Campbell now has split the DRS with Dylan in behind.
Yeah, now Dylan is in big trouble. He just lost touch now, so they split up in 2 groups pretty much. As I think where TDB meant Marine you donut in the comments, he didn't say Marine do donuts, so yeah. A bit of a shame, he's opening his own bakery there, but he's just to make an easy move here.
Yeah, yep.
So he needs to make that move and get as close as he can to the guys ahead to maybe close back that gap, but the top guys are pushing. Nathan already on 20% DRS, less than 20. So they're definitely pushing, but I think Justas can claw that gap back if I'm honest.
Yeah, Justas can claw that gap back, and I think it's ideal for Dylan as well. Obviously he's overshot his soft slightly on this lap, but in terms of this, Stephen Osher's retired coming into the pit lane. He sped into the pit lane. He picked up a 3-second penalty, and going into lap 4 in the race, that's just overall disappointing, to be honest. If you don't want to be here, don't turn up. Simple as that. Nathan leading the way, Campbell in second, Justas in third, Dylan in fourth, Yildirim in fifth. Yildirim now applying a bit of pressure to Dylan, and you can already see on the rears there of Dylan, he's slightly overwearing them, and he's just struggling for a little bit of pace at this stage. Justas is now 1 second behind Campbell. It will be under a second, I'm sure, down in towards the Hangar Straight. And Nathan currently holding control in the race. But just look to me, Campbell is quicker than him. He's applying a bit of pressure, and that's exactly what Campbell wants to do, and it's exactly what he wants to do, obviously, with Justas in behind, 9/10 away. He may as well do it now, apply a bit of pressure, see if you can force a mistake out of your rival.
Yeah, try that, or you need to try saving ERS up, because he's got a huge advantage now over Nathan. Just mentioning a bit of the setups, so people like me who try to prepare as many setups as possible will be in heaven right now, because they could select a race setup, but Campbell doesn't look like he's got a race setup. He's absolutely flying over one lap, and he's just flying past Nathan. Nathan just slotting in behind, no worries of losing time. As Justas is absolutely within the ERS range again, but Dylan just lacking that bit of race pace, maybe with a bit of a too aggressive setup, as I said, just sliding here and there. That's just cost him when he checks it. And now Yildirim is the next one, who's really urgent to get past him to not lose the contact to the top 3.
Yeah, just saw an overtake on the mini-map, by the way. Jonas Thuney's into 15th, and he is now ahead of Nuth in terms of that battle. Thuney's into 15th. I think Nuth actually made a mistake and ran out wide, and Jeroen was on the underside of him, coming through Stowe, and picked up the free place, quite literally. I think Nathan, though, he obviously gave up in terms of that battle, really, on the back of Campbell. I wonder if he's actually thought that a bit tactically, because Justas, I wonder if Justas is going to go a little bit longer into the race compared to Nathan. 5/10 behind, both of course within the same team. Nathan looks like he's on the pace now behind Campbell, but before that, Campbell was on the pace of Nathan, so it's starting to swing in both ways. Yildirim, by the way, is on the back of Dylan in towards Stowe, or in towards Cups, I should say, through turn 9. Dylan there in fourth, he's just gapping out 7/10 of a second, but I think Justas is just waiting behind. Nathan can try and attack Campbell, but I think this is going to play maybe longer term to Justas' race pace, and maybe a win for the championship leader.
Yeah, definitely coming towards him. Nathan not wanting to get past yet, just saving a bit of ERS back up. He used so much in the first couple of laps, and that just gives Dylan the chance to catch back up a bit using the DRS. And Yildirim obviously trying to get past, because he is the quicker guy. What have you spotted? Oh, Licks! Oh,
into the pit lane.
Undercut and the speeding.
Yeah, he didn't speed into the... Well, he didn't want to speed into the pit lane. He didn't do it on purpose. Paco, I believe, has spun through the final corner. He is spinning on the grass. Hopefully it doesn't disqualify him like it did with Rudy. He hasn't, and he's now got back underway. So the American now down in 17th position. Moran, by the way, still to full credit. He's there in 18th, going around. He could have easily given up, but contact ahead of him, and plenty of mistakes that could happen as Paco has spun once again, coming through turn 1 at Abbey. He, now down in P16, Moran and Packer could easily quit at this point, but they won't. They're not like Stephen Osh, who just quit at the first sign of asking. Campbell leads the way, Nathan in second, Justas in third, Dylan in fourth, Yildirim there in fifth, and Campbell holding now a bit of control. Dylan all of a sudden, because he's in that DRS train, he was obviously a second nearly outside of Justas a couple of laps ago. He's now under pressure from Yildirim, but Dylan's now beginning to pick up the pace, and he's being forced essentially by the German in behind.
Yeah, it's being forced, and that puts them a bit closer together in overall. And Justas seems to have the best pace so far, and his car looks great. And Yildirim is now going for an overtake, maybe?
No.
Not quite close enough, quite risky here. If you're on the inside, it's so easy to get spun out by the guy on the outside, so just trying to force Dylan to use a bit more ERS, and then he should have an easier passing opportunity, but at the moment it's just single file, DRS train all the way through, up to P10.
As I always say in these races in the first half, second half of the race will be better than the first half, and that's what we're going to get here tonight at Silverstone. Nathan in behind Campbell. Campbell still leading the way. Yildirim, by the way, still maybe trying to force a move on Dylan. Maybe down in towards Brooklands. In fact, down into the loop, but down in towards turn 5. And that is a move he shouldn't have been going for. And look at that, he's been overtaken by Pease. It's a move that easily, again, could have been avoided. Just a little bit of impatience, I think, from Yildirim there. He's now down into P6. He's got now his teammate ahead of him. Could he be let back through and regain that position? that was Yulbrim's own fault, to be honest. Put him in that. He put himself in that position. Wanted to dive it down the inside. Saw a gap. Always going to close. Dylan had the line. Dylan had the car ahead as well. And Dylan, to be fair, cut him up with the pass. And Yulbrim, down in P6, shouldn't have gone for it. Simple.
Yeah, that was just way too clumsy. If you want to make a move there, that was way too late. But you need to get the run in turn 3. Just carry a bit more speed into it and then drift outside, and then you have the inside for the next corner. But that was just way too late, and maybe just a snap decision.
Oh, he's Nathan!
Luckily... Ooh, yeah. The arrest
Interesting.
Begins.
I wonder if Nathan's going to come into the pit lane, actually. Yeah, oh, I thought he was. I thought he was. That's why I tried to get the overtake done. That was cheeky, yeah, and from Nathan. Nathan leads the way now, Campbell in second. Oh, that's Campbell, my God.
Oh, good save. Good save.
Goodness me, I think a bit of brown stuff could have been coming out there. Campbell in second, Justas in third. Justas now on the back. But this is what I was saying a couple of laps earlier. Nathan looked under pressure there from Justas especially, but Nathan had to force that move on Campbell to get away, because I think Justas is quicker than the two drivers ahead, and Justas is looking pretty good, I've got to say, out on track. Yulbrim, by the way, on the back of Pease coming out of Aintree, not going to get the move done from that far back, and still we run in a single adjacent line in that DRS train, all the way down to P10 at the minute. Nathan leads the way, Campbell second, Justas in third. Really hope you're enjoying the action, by the way. If you are, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new, and put some comments in the comment section while you're at it, as well, of course. Division 3 and Division 4 also live at this moment in time, and Miss Jess Games, I've got to say, has got a sore throat in Division 3, so go and show some very nice love towards her, and obviously doing commentary tonight with a sore throat, not easy, but go and show some love for her. Just tell her I sent you.
Yeah, go and do that. You can also stay right here, right now, because Justas is again
Campbell.
doing what he did last lap, applying the pressure, so Campbell has to go for the move in order to defend his position. So that's what Justas is doing. He seems to get quite decent runs off course, and now he's going for the undercut with a lot more ERS. Is he getting slowed down? Oh, that was really close, but perfect timed. But it's a bit early, I think. So
yep.
If the top guys can make the softs last 3, 4, 5 more laps, maybe.
Oh, as we lost you there slightly.
Yeah, am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so undercut, not sure if it's gonna work, and just one virtual safety car, they're absolutely screwed.
Yeah, definitely. So Campbell and Nathan now going for that overcut. Of course, it's a 30-second pit stop around here at Silverstone. So essentially, they're going to be 30 seconds behind, basically, out on track. It'll probably be around 28, 29 seconds, I think, when they come out the pit lane. There is the gap to the leader. Justas is coming out the pit lane now. He is just joining ahead of Packer, and it's dead on where I expected. 29 seconds. Marine, by the way, is spun once again through Maggots and Beckett. He's not really having a great time at all. Campbell, though, and Nathan, if these top guys can push on even 2 extra laps, I think they're still going to be ahead, because they've got the pace now. Peter's got a little bit of clear air to run into, but I don't think he's going to run into the clear air with Jensen in behind, who's going to probably attack him down and towards Stowe. Pease wouldn't want to do that, especially when you've got a fellow relentless driver ahead of you. You don't want to go into a bit of free air when Nathan and Campbell potentially could be coming into the pit lane this lap. Campbell leads the way, Nathan in second, but Nathan tried to desperately, I think, get that move done. He wasn't close enough down in towards Stowe, and Campbell and Nathan both into the pit lane. So the respawn, and in fact everyone on the set of softs is coming in. Pease is in, Jensen in, Rocco in, Lix has picked up a 3-second penalty. Is Jerome coming in there as well? No, Jerome stays out, interestingly. He's under pressure from nothing behind as well, but now Verstappen leads the way. What now do the drivers do on a set of medium compound tyres? Surely they're going at least 18, 19, 20 laps.
Not sure, the softs, I don't know, I'm a bit surprised they all pitted that early, as they now come out the pits. Probably use their calendars to calculate where they come out. Yeah, that's a bit ambitious. Oh, that's going to be a beautiful undercut there on Packer, yes. Nice traction. Oh, careful the inside curve, just makes it work. A good move, but where do the people come out? There's Campbell, there's Nathan. Justas is just going to get one guy. Yeah, he got ahead of Nathan. But Nathan just coming back around the outside with the cold tires, not going to work. Justas defending quite intensively there, so they have to be careful not to lose touch with Campbell. It's now over 7/10 ahead, but the DRS will keep them close to them.
Look at Nathan though on the back of Justas. He could potentially go for a move on the outside in towards Brooklands. He has to switch to the outside line. The Ferrari's on the inside and Nathan's going to try and do this all the way around the outside of Brooklands. Forced off slightly. Just nearly gets chopped up at the pass by his relentless teammate, and Justas is just about ahead coming out of left field. But Nathan on the run down in towards Cops. I'm not getting a sense of deja vu at all down in towards Cops here. Justas in 8th. Nathan in 90 turns off the DRS, and 3 wide nearly in the background by the way. Jensen, Rocco, and Rocco's gone around the outside of Packer. There's contact in the fold. Packer's in the wall. Left side end plate damage on the car, and that was unfortunate because Rocco, for 90% of that move, that looked like it was move of the season by far. I know it was on fresher tyres, but Rocco easily had the car ahead. I think Packer overstretching obviously the what am I trying to say here? What's the word I'm trying to look for? The camber of the corner caught him out, I think. Packer just got caught in the camber of the corner, got too much of the curb, got forced out wide basically, and slight bit of contact with Rocco. Wasn't Rocco's wrongdoing at all. Didn't force him into the wall. Wasn't on purpose. Just unfortunate for Packer.
Yeah, really unfortunate. His race was already down the drain a bit, but now it's literally over. I hope he continues though. As yeah, Lix is also having a nice collection of his penalties. Wondering when the exhibition is, already on 14 seconds now. And it's not even halfway through the race, so you might see get him in disqualified. Miron still out there on softs, the only guy actually on the red tyres.
Oh, here comes Nathan! Nathan again into Brooklands, tries to go all the way around the outside, and Justas.
Switch back.
Yeah, he's going to get the switch. Oh my god! I thought he was going to go all the way around the outside. Goodness me, he's now on the switchback out of left field, and then now could be like a Verstappen Hamilton sort of battle. Down in towards Cobbs. Nathan doesn't want to go for this at all. Justas has to defend. That's more than 2 moves, I think, from Justas. Nathan just about in behind. Could have easily made contact there, but for me, Justas made more than 2 moves there. One, obviously, to try and hold the position, 1 to defend the position. I think there was 3 moves there in that, and Justas might be just winging his way to the penalties, of course, as Nathan reports that.
Yeah, I don't think the Ariel guys will report each other, but they'll certainly have a word about that. That was a bit too close to comfort, and still somehow they managed to not lose the crucial time to Campbell, so Campbell is still in the DRS side there, but yeah, Nathan, ambitious, I like it. He really wants that win desperately, you can see. Just hope he doesn't go too hard and then make the crucial mistake ending it all. But at the moment he certainly looks to be quick, as yeah, now Marine has given up. Fair play to him, as Neo makes a move on Wouter for P2. That's a beautiful dive from him, so yeah, fair play to Neo. Don't usually see that from him, but fair play.
Yildirim, that my eccentric all there was for Yildirim, trying to get the move done on Dylan, but he wasn't close enough for the move. Nathan now running low on ERS. Justas has got 24%. I mean, Nathan's only 2% less, but Nathan was a little bit further off compared to the last lap around. Marine, by the way, is retired into the pit lane, and his race was going from bad to worse, quite simply, in terms of his spins. Unfortunately for Marine, probably didn't get any practice in with him just being home as well. We can totally understand that, but at least he continued on for as many laps as he did, because otherwise I probably would have given up in that scenario, and probably 90% of drivers here in League of Europe probably would have done the same thing a little bit earlier on. But it just comes to show the courage and the respect that Marine has here for League of Europe, which is good to see. Campbell now 6 ends clear of Justas in the net race of the lead, the current lead of the race. Verstappen's still going on. Gap has remained quite consistent as well, 4 seconds to Neo. Yildirim, by the way, is looking very close on the back of Dylan through Stowe, the P10 and 11. As Yildirim got a wrist down the inside line, absolutely sends it. What a move that is by Yildirim, but Dylan's going to get the switchback at the final corner. But Yildirim absolutely signed, sealed and delivered that. What a move that is. Yildirim through his into 10. That's exactly what he was going for at Village in a couple of laps ago. Didn't manage it then, but 2 times a charm. Yildirim through his into 10th, and we might have just seen the move of the season.
Yeah, you can probably find Dylan's PlayStation on eBay after this race. What a move from Yildirim. A bit cheeky, not gonna lie, a bit harsh, but he made it work, and Dylan was absolutely asleep there, so fair play. And yeah, he's now in a good position to catch up to the leaders, and Nathan is just putting the pressure on Justas. What a poor guy that is. And Campbell is having no issues at the moment, just saving his battery a bit and staying in that P1. But don't forget about the alternate strategy runners when they start fighting like crazy, like they're doing right now. As Nathan is still getting so close, he's turned off dirt here, doesn't give a damn about it, and now he's got the run. trying to cool the engine a bit.
Oh.
He's got a weird line there, that was a bit too much. And now he's got Jubim right behind him, not close enough yet. Still recovering from that move probably from last lap.
It's almost as if he turned off dirty air, but then about 5 seconds later, it looked like he got caught in the dirty air, which is unfortunate for Nathan. But there in P9, still out on that. Stephen Trodden, by the way, laughing at your comment, Dylan's PlayStation on eBay. Probably the comment of the season so far from you. P's on the back of Dylan, maybe wanting a piece of the action. Yeah, P's in 12, Dylan in 11. That was terrible, I did that one early on. Urona's into the pit lane, by the way, onto a set of medium compound tyres. He goes, P's there in 11th position, and he's trying to close in on the back. He was close enough to Dylan last lap around, but it didn't get the move done. Nathan, though, wants this move done on Justas, and I think down in towards Brooklands, he might just try and open up the taps to try and get this move done. He's got more battery now, 50% compared to Justas, 56%. Justas, though, 7th position. Nathan and Nathan, currently, they're just filtering through. I think all of this really is going to kick off. Final 5, 6, 7 laps, perhaps, in this race. We saw it last season, and it kicked off big time. Probably will again. Hopefully no safety cars could interfere either. Nathan, again, close on the back of Justas, down through Walker, in towards Copse, but he's not going to be close enough. Verstappen leading the way, Neo in 2nd, Ruta there in 3rd, and good evening to our random account that we've got just coming into the comment section there.
Yeah, even the random bot is probably laughing at my joke right now, as Steven is enjoying himself as well. But yeah, Nathan turning off the dirty air once again, getting it run now, and he's definitely trying to squeeze his battery like his favourite lemon. He might try it, but it's just so close right now. Campbell has almost has to worry about 2 guys in the mirrors right now. Trubim just taking a bit of a distance, recovering still, and yeah, maybe not too stupid when just leave a gap to those guys, and you see them frantically weaving on all the straights, trying to find a space. But I think Justas is almost forced to attack Campbell now, when Nathan is just pushing him all the way around the track.
Speaking of forced to attack, P's on the back of Dylan, now going to make the move in towards turn number 3, in towards Village. Doesn't get the move done. Dylan kept his ear in there, to be honest, kept his car in there, and was the car ahead going into the corner, so it was a great run by Dylan, obviously defending absolutely brilliantly. And now Pease, though, running down the straight. Is he going to try and get the move done? Nathan, by the way, is going to swing to the inside and towards Brooklands on Justas, and Justas, I think, is not going to give this one without a fight. On the inside line now and towards Luffield, surely going to be hung out to dry, and surely Justas has got this. Yes, he does. Justas in front, just forcing Nathan out, but now down in towards Cubs. It could be a repeat once again of what we saw a couple of laps ago, but Nathan sticks in behind Justas for now, and it calms down once again. Campbell there in 6th. Neil, by the way, has just been overtaken by Ruta. That's for 2nd position out on track. And actually, these two are now beginning to catch Verstappen, who is into the pit lane. So another one who was catching Verstappen, losing the tyres there. 15 laps in. Ruta and Neil interestingly into the pit lane. Nuth continues on. And Nuth normally, in terms of his tyre wear, is quite good. So he's going to go on a few more laps, I think. Justas, though, on the back of Campbell, attacks down in towards Stowe. Gets the job done. And Campbell now will try and fight back. But where are Verstappen and everyone else going to come out of the pit lane? Because this is not going to be close in terms of the battle for the lead, but especially for the likes of Izza, the likes of Rocco in this train, could be quite close for them. Justas now leads the way, or will lead the way eventually when Nuth and Kuhnblai come into the pit lane, but he's into 3rd. Verstappen, by the way, for reference, as Pease are diving down the inside line, and there's contact between them both. And unfortunately, they got caught up in contact. Pease went for the inside line, in towards turn number 1. Didn't want to get the move done. And do you know how I said it might kick off about 5 laps from the end? It's just kicked off now as Pease is really fighting. Izza on the back of him. Rocco there in 9th. Is he going to try and get the move done on Pease? Maybe in towards Brooklands? No, Pease stays ahead of him. Rocco was going to try and go all the way around the outside in towards Luffield. But Pease there in 8th. Rocco, and now I'm going to mute my mic because I've got a hair in my mouth.
Yeah, so Pease with really aggressive moves there, so he might come away with a black eye from the stewards and then he can rename himself into Black Eye Pease, but we'll see about that. Jensen's still just clinging onto the arrest train, so he's still in the mix in that case, but look how close Justas, Campbell and Nathan are, so Campbell surely is going to make the move, but can Nathan follow through as well on the straight? He might just give it a go, a bit low on the ERS, but Campbell certainly is going for the move. He almost has to with Nathan behind him, so moving to the inside. No, he's lifting, so he's still waiting one more lap. Both sitting quite comfortably on 70% DRS, but Jewelry must actually join the party at the front there now, so We saw how aggressive he was, and he might surprise them as well if it hasn't been told by Dylan. But he's probably too ashamed to tell the other guys in the party that he was absolutely mocked by Julbrim. But yeah, really exciting battle for the lead. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, definitely so. We have to remember as well, Kumbly still yet to come into play then, is in the lead of this race. Nathan tries to force the issue on Campbell in towards Village again, in toward the loop there, but not quite close enough. And I think Campbell probably just looking better compared to Justas, but this battle is looking quite good. First and second of the championship. Once Kumbly comes into the pit lane, Justas and Campbell are going to be first and second out on track if Nathan and Julbrim doesn't have anything to say about it as well. And I did say Jensen will be in chance of a possible victory here in terms of the actual race. He's doing a very good job. My prediction at the minute, if Julbrim can move up a couple of positions, is not looking bad at all.
Yeah, and don't forget Verstappen, he's on the soft, and although he went super long, he's already in the train again, so if he can just make the moves one by one, maybe one a lap now, so then he can get himself on the podium, maybe even to the fight for the win, as we may see some moves. No, there shouldn't be any moves this lap. Or is Campbell proving me wrong as always? No, he's not Campbelling this time on taking the lead, but yeah, Verstappen, after this sector he's probably going to be in the train. And then he's going to have a huge advantage on fresh tyres, so don't count him out yet.
Yeah, don't count him out at all. Ruta, by the way, is on the back of Dylan. This is another battle further down the field for 11th and 12th positions. Are currently in the final point scoring position. Once Kumbly comes into pit lane, though, that will mean he's going to be probably further down the field. As now Ruta pulls the inside line in towards turn number 1. That should be easy for Ruta. Gets the job done from Dylan. It's the second time he's been mugged in this race. And Ruta through, and he's into P11. Nice move down the inside line. Rocco and Pease trying to dive it down the inside line. The McLaren on the Alpine. And now we're going ball with the action coming out of Aintree on the run down towards Brooklands. Julbrim, by the way, or Nathan is just pulling out of the slipstream on Campbell. Not going to get the move done. And Rocco sends it down the inside line of Pease. Falls him out wide. Little bit of wheel banging. Nothing really in that. Rocco had the inside line, to be honest, and wanted to get that move done. Has got that move done. But now Verstappen joins onto the back of a train that is going to ever increase, because I think as Ruta, Neil, they're coming through the field as well. This could potentially be an 11-car train for the race lead in a few laps' time.
Yeah, as Pease gets his penalty, so that's also crucial now. Even with this battle, he avoid getting the warnings. That will be crucial to the end. But yeah, Verstappen is in there now. Fresh tyres, is he going to get the exit yet? No, not this lap, I think, but may just be better off saving Jerez. No, he absolutely isn't.
Oh, Campbell! Campbell's gone for it! Campbell on the inside of Justas has gone for it, and this is for the net race lead, so Campbell through, and he's now into the net race lead, and he didn't get forced into that by Nathan. Nathan was nowhere close enough that time around. And Campbell, I think now, wants to try and go for the race win. He wants to extend the gap. He's going to now say, catch me if you can. And Campbell, the Scotsman, has gone with still 8-9 laps to go. Dylan, by the way, is back into the pit lane. Verstappen, by the way, as well, is on the back of Izza. In towards turn number 2. Now in towards Village at turn 3. Dives it down the inside line. It should be easy. Izza just gets out of the way, and Verstappen is through. He's into P9. No harm and done. And that, Licks, by the way, he's in the pit lane, and he has retired the car. Packer, 30 seconds behind, though, was still continuing on.
Yeah, Dylan also in the pit lane, so his race was looking so good, but now he also had to pit, which is really unfortunate. But Verstappen picking off the first one. He needs to pick off a second one this lap if he wants to make progress in this train. But he doesn't look too bad, maybe a bit too low on ERS for his liking. But Nathan is now at the next one, knocking on Justas' door. Campbell obviously can't pull away, but he wants just to be in control there with a full battery. Loving life right now, but yeah, Justas also not being too shabby. Nathan might want to think about the move right now, just to get into the second spot. Probably seeing quicker guys behind him as well, so just for that extra protection for one car between them. But it looks like there's no moves this lap around.
Verstappen on the back of Pease is going to get the move done down in towards turn number 15 at Stowe. Does get the move done down the inside line. Pease doesn't fight that, and Verstappen, you said pretty much, half a minute ago, if Verstappen gets another position, he's bound to go, obviously, through this race and now get the likes of Rocco, get the likes of Jensen more immediately ahead of him. So Verstappen through, he's into 8th position. Remember, Kumbly still out of the pit lane, still leading the way. 6.4 seconds. The guys behind haven't really caught over the last couple of laps. They've gained, 2.5 tenths per lap, I think. And Kumbly 19-lap-old mediums, they're coming into their second half of the stint, basically, and they're still looking quite fresh, because Campbell hasn't got any time to try and respond to. Justas is not going to be on the back of him. Yildirim, though, on the back of Nathan, turns off the ERS, he's not going to get the job done. Verstappen on Rocco, coming through Brooklands, not quite close enough either. So, building to crescendo nicely, Kumbulai leads the way, Campbell there in second, Justas there in third, Nathan there in fourth. But are we going to see any moves more immediately? Verstappen on the outside line, in towards Cox. He's not going to think about going around the outside here. Is he? Verstappen around the outside. What a move that is! And Rocco's still on the inside of him. He could still have the run in towards Magnussen Beckett, but he doesn't. And Verstappen is through, and he's into 7th position. It takes balls of steel to go around the outside of Stowe. Verstappen proves that he's got that in absolute abundance, and he's through and he's into 7th, and that's exactly what he wants.
Yeah, really brave. Rocco not leaving him a millimetre of space there more than necessary, but yeah, very brave from Verstappen, and he needed to make the move, as I said. And he just needs to make the next move on Jensen. As Truerim really is pushing Nathan now, therefore pushing Justas, therefore almost pushing into Campbell again. So Truerim is now the aggressor in this pack, because you also can see Verstappen on his timing split now. Probably thinking, who the hell is that coming on soft? As Verstappen cuts the corner of turn 1 like there's no tomorrow, so he needs to be careful with that. Is he gonna send one here? Thinks about it, but Jensen just goes slightly defensive. Just
Brooklands. This will be Brooklands, I think, for Verstappen. He's on the back of him, running down the straight. Is he gonna be close? Yeah. No, Jensen's pulling away.
Yeah. Jensen just pulling away with a bit more battery. Verstappen not wanting to waste it here. So is he going to get wide? Yeah, he's going wide again for a better exit, but so does Jensen, lining up quite nicely. Verstappen, yeah, he's not going for it right here, so he escalated the situation a bit more right now, but frantic stuff, not gonna lie.
Frantic stuff, and we're still 5 laps from the end, going on to the next lap on lap 22. Campbell leading the way now, Justas in second, Nathan in third. Kumbulai, by the way, completely out of it now. He's down in 14. He is out now of this race, pretty much. It's between, really, the top 13 drivers, I would say. I'd be very, very conservative if I didn't say that, but top 13 I think it's going to come down to. Justas on the back of Campbell, not going to get the move done there. P's on the back of Rocco, not going to get the move done. Neil on the back of Ruta, though, does. Rocco at Neil through and he's into P10. The XL man through on the relentless driver and he's through and he's into P10. Could come through the field even further. We're just going to try and battle him back down and towards Club. Doesn't get the move done. And Ruta there in 11th, Neil in 12th. I don't think they're going to be gaining, though, onto this pack, who's in a big old DRS train. 9-car train for the race lead. Campbell leads the way. Justas in second, Nathan in third. It's going to build to an absolute crescendo, and there's going to be quite a few forceful moves onto the final couple of laps of the race.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one is trying to get the ERS slipstream effect into turn 3 yet, because that's usually a good opportunity. Yildirim with a mistake there, so Jensen now right on his back. Verstappen not too far behind either, so if they go side by side, he might want to make this move. He's going for it. Come on, son, get them both, get them both.
Around the outside of left field.
No, he's not quite, but he's got one of them, so that's really important. And now
he's going to get the next one here. He could get the next one here. No.
He's backing out. Truerim defending is slightly though, just making sure that Verstappen doesn't stick it in there. Verstappen needs to get Truerim on this exit now, because Truerim doesn't quite have the slipstream effect from the cars ahead. Still quite a decent battery amount, but yeah. Verstappen, beautiful move. As I said, just profiting from the situation with people battling ahead of him. And now just holding back, letting Truerim use some ERS, and Justas is getting close to Campbell again, but yeah, both of them sitting on 90%, so they're saving for the last couple of laps.
And because of the battles as well that's happening in front, Neo has just gained another 0.5 of a second on the back of Izza. They could soon join the train onto the final couple of laps, so it could be an 11-car train, as I said earlier on. Neo gains another 2-3 tenths out of the final corner, so Neo was flying. But is he going to get towards the top end of the field come the end of the race? Who knows what's going to happen in these final 4 laps? Campbell leads the way. Justas in second. Verstappen on the back of Yildirim. Not going to get the move done. P's again on the back of Rocco further down on this train. Not going to get the move done either. But they're all Constantinoing up now through turn number 4. Now through turn 5. And now Verstappen will open up the taps on the back of the German. Running down in towards Brooklands. The inside line is there. He's going to have to be forced all the way around the outside. And do you know what? He's going to do this as well. On the outside line. He just runs out wide. And the camber of the corner doesn't really work. He's going to try and open up the speed now on the exit of Luffield, but again Verstappen just cannot get the move done. One thing to get onto the back of a driver around this track, another thing to overtake Verstappen, is we're seeing that pretty much to right good effect now.
Yeah, stuck in the beautiful DRS train that is Silverstone so renowned for, but it's still not over for Verstappen. He just needs to make 1 or 2 moves and then he's in a battle for the lead. Obviously with the drained battery it's going to be difficult, but even a podium is going to be a huge result for him. But Truebeam now pushing Nathan into Justas, into Campbell. Justas thinking about it. Oh, so close to the back of him, almost continuing up. Oh, Verstappen getting close to the back of Truebeam as well, so have to be careful with the lifting. It might surprise some people from behind, but now they should be warned that this might happen. But yeah, dangerous stuff with the front wings.
This lap, someone is going to go for a move, and I'm not sure if it's going to end pretty, because now this is getting quite tense. Heart of Courage, I think, now can be put onto the final 3 laps. Campbell leads the way, Justas in second, Nathan in third, Justas just controlling the race in behind. He's got 90% of ERS, so has Campbell. Nathan has got pretty much less than, and Verstappen lunged it down the inside on of Yildirim in the background. Didn't get the move done, but now opens up once again through Aintree. Is he going to be close enough? No, I don't think he will. Yildirim weaving down the straight, trying to break that toe, but he need not, because he's in pretty much defending thin air there, and Yildirim in 4th, Verstappen in 5th, Yildirim staying in 4th position, Campbell still leads the way. This is all going to get quite tense, I think. Down in towards Stowe, this could all kick off on this lap.
Yeah, now the moves are going to be made. You want to be in a good position for the last lap, preferably P2 or P3. But yeah, Truebeam, Verstappen a little bit of a coming together. Verstappen sent it a bit like Truebeam did early in the race. So maybe apologizing to each other a little bit there, just making aware that that shouldn't happen again. But now Nathan not pushing yet. Truebeam seems to be pushing quite a bit on the straight. But Justas getting close again, but he doesn't want to be P1 for the last lap. He has the pace to make the overtake on the last lap, and that's what he's aiming for. Obviously staying in P2 is another challenge because of Nathan, Truebeam, Verstappen, Jensen all behind being there to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, Neo and Muta, by the way, have joined the train as well. It's an 11-car train for the race lead here in Britain with 2 laps to go. Campbell, the Scotsman, leads the way. The Lithuanian bearing down on him in behind. Can he try and force the move? Maybe, I think, down in towards Stowe, in onto the final lap of the race and try and escape desperately. Will Justas time this to perfection? Because he got outdone earlier on in the season. I think he got outdone around here as well a few seasons ago. He's not close enough this time around. Campbell's defending thin air. He may as well not. Verstappen on the back of Yildirim looking quite close as well, but the Dutchman is not on the back of the German, and it's still no moves made down in towards Brooklands and Luffield. Campbell leads the way, Justas second, Nathan in third. This final lap is going to be hell for leather. This is going to kick off big time. Campbell leading the way. Has Justas though got the pace? He's using up a lot of deployment running down in towards Copse, but can he try and get the move done onto the final lap of the race? This is going to be tense.
Yeah, he's going to go to try for the last lap. Now he's just about staying with Campbell as much as he can. He's got the ERS advantage, so it's in his hands now if he wants to win this race. And if he can make the last lap without making any mistakes, gaining the time back on the DRS. So now Campbell pushed a lot this lap, but it's not enough to pull away on this track. So that pulls the train a little bit further away from each other as well. So no immediate overtakes this time round, but the last lap is going to get spicy.
This is going to get quite spicy. The final lap of the race is about to begin. Campbell leads the way. He opens up the taps out of the final corner and leads by 0.5 of a second, coming down the Hamilton straight for the final time. Campbell leading the way. Justas, as I say, bearing down on him in behind, but I think Campbell has got an element of control of this race. If this is 0.5 of a second coming out of Aintree, Campbell is pretty much going to win this race, I think, because I don't think Justas is going to be close enough. And again, coming out of Aintree, it's around 0.5 of a second, and Justas made a slight mistake, and that just could be the moment which gives Campbell the race victory. His heart will be going, our hearts are going, my voice is going as well. Campbell leads the way through Brooklands and Luffield for the final time. He has got the weight on his shoulders completely. Nathan now really beginning to push Justas though in behind. He looked close enough in toward Luffield, not going to get the move done, and this is now going to be ultimate defining moment of this race. Can Justas draw in Campbell on the run in towards Maggots and Beckett? It's going to be the final opportunity for him. He's used up a lot of deployment though, and I fear that's going to come back to haunt him in this race. Campbell leading the way, 20% of ERS. He's got around the same deployment coming out of Chapel. Justas is now going to bear down on him. The Lithuanian, is he going to be close enough down in front stop? He has to go all the way around the outside. Look at the closing speed. Can the Lithuanian go for it around the outside? The Scotsman hangs him out to dry, and Campbell holds the lead. Justas now, one final attempt in towards Valen Club. He fakes the move. Campbell now is pretty much now home and hose through the final corner here at Valen Club. What a dramatic end. Campbell crossed the line to win in Britain. Justas there in second, Nathan there in third, Yildirim in fourth, Verstappen in fifth, Jensen in the end in sixth, Rocco in seventh, Izza, Neo, Pease run off the top 10, run through the rest of the grid. Campbell though, I said penultimate lap of the race, it was 0.5 per second coming out onto the Wellington straight. He wasn't going to get him. That proved right. Despite Justas' closing speed, Campbell held his nerve, held his pressure, gains points not only on Justas in terms of the championship, but gains a vital race win.
Yeah, that's valuable points there. It would have been a point swing of 14 points there, decided on the last lap. Campbell perfectly positioning his car, no chance for Justas. He tried going around the outside, but he didn't quite have to overlap. So, yeah, perfectly played from Campbell. I was actually a bit surprised, but yeah, Justas just a little bit of a mistake out of turn 4, cost him a 10th almost. That was probably it. That was the 10th he needed to be a bit closer through Copse and then getting the slipstream into Maggots and Beckett's, and then he was a bit too far away from the final straight. So, congrats to both of them. Great racing, but ultimately Campbell played it to perfection.
He did play to absolute perfection indeed, and Campbell, the Scotsman, to the top step of the podium. And I believe it's the first time this season, if I look at the standings, that, as I've got last season's standings up, that doesn't help me at all. We'll try and get these season standings up. That is, I believe, the first time that we've had a dual winner of the season. Of course, Campbell won in Portimao, now wins here in Britain. 2 tracks that Nathan potentially could have won at. He hasn't. And unfortunately for now, Nathan, right down towards the, well, he's still in 8th position, obviously, but we'll see in terms of the championship standings where everyone is going to be come the end of this race. Campbell, though, wins. Justas there in second. Crucial win for Campbell. And he gains, what? With no fastest lap being awarded within the top 10, Campbell gets an extra... Am I making that 7 points over Justas? So,
yep.
The gap was 12 points, now 5 going into next week in Jeddah, and Jeddah's going to be a hell of a race. Campbell wins, Justas in second, Nathan third, will hopefully get the top 3 in. Yildirim in fourth, Verstappen in fifth, Jensen in sixth, Rocco in seventh, Izza in eighth, Neo in ninth. Pease ran off the top 10. I've never seen, by the way, the top 9 finished by 4 seconds around here. Brilliant race. Pease in 10. Yvonne and Nuth also picking up points. Ruta, Kuhnblad, Dylan and Packard all finished. Licks, Marine, Stephen and Rudy unfortunately didn't. Rudy, that disqualification. Surely something has got to be looked into that in terms of the actual game settings. So unfortunate for Rudy. He went the wrong way. And obviously the game just instantly disqualified him. Probably undeserved and complete and utter disgrace, I think, in terms of his disconnection there. But Justas, or disqualification, I should say. Justas still wins. Campbell second. Nathan in third. Shall we get the top 3 in? Campbell, by the way, won. Justas in second. Nathan third. Shall we get the top 3 in nonetheless?
Yeah, trying to. Definitely have to see if I'll have all of them. Probably not have Nathan in my friend list, but I'll just try to get them in. And I have to say my voice is as bad as yours right now.
It is as bad as yours. It's probably twice as worse as yours, considering that final lap of the race. Absolutely brilliant in terms of the action here in Britain. Britain always tends to deliver maybe a bit of a subdued affair compared to what we normally have here in Britain, but still a very, very good and thrilling finale. Hopefully you enjoyed the commentary as well. And of course, if you did like the race, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're new. We'll try and rattle through these interviews, by the way, because I'm conscious that Division 2 and Division 5 will be starting in around 15 minutes time, so we don't want to be taking up your guys' time in terms of the viewing figures for that. So I think what I'll do is I'll obviously interview the drivers. Montana, you can go and rest up your voice, luckily, and then obviously we'll end the stream come the end of the interviews, and that's probably the plan. But I have to come across to you though first. Overall thoughts before the top 3 of course join in. Overall thoughts and driver of the day.
So overall thoughts, jeez, yeah, race of the season for me, because it was so tense and a huge battle for the lead. Driver of the day, you gotta give it to Campbell. With the pressure, with the adrenaline flowing, with the pressure on him, that was just insane from Justas. To keep his nerves, do a perfect final lap, defend it like that. You just have to give some credit where credit is due, and Campbell definitely the driver of the day for me.
Yeah, and speaking of Campbell, he has joined the party here. The first dual winner of the season here in League of Europe Division 1. And Campbell, onto the final lap of the race, your heart must have been thumping about 160 beats a minute. I thought it was honestly probably going to come out of you at one stage. Talk us through that, because you held the pressure very well in that final lap.
Yeah, well, just with this track, it's so easy to save ERS, so rather than deploy on the last, I decided I would go on the last two, so I would get the most of what I had left in the deployment. But yeah, I didn't think I would hold it, because it's always horrible to be leading on the last lap with the guy behind who can be so close, especially here with how strong the DRS is. So I don't know what to say, to be honest with you.
Yeah, honestly, I thought you handled the pressure very well on the final lap of the race. And coming onto that final lap, of course, you had that ERS. Did you ever feel that your Justas were going to get the run onto you, down in towards Stowe, and possibly nip you of that race win?
Part of me thought so, yes, and part no, because sometimes when he was in behind in DRS, he would gain a lot on the straight, like 4 or 5 tenths, and I'd be worried, and then some laps he wouldn't gain anything, so it could have went either way, but luckily, I guess, he wasn't quite close enough, and I could hold the inside and defend the position well to Stowe.
Yeah, I think a tenth of a second was all it was coming out of Chapel, and that is probably what defined the race in that final lap of the race. Obviously, you score 7 points extra compared to your title rival as well, so you're 5 points behind going into Jeddah next week. How do you think you're going to get on around there?
I mean, Jeddah, you've seen it in real life, it's going to be chaos. It's just going to be a matter of, again, qualifying well, being at the front and hopefully avoiding it all and not getting screwed over by a safety car if it comes.
Hopefully it'll be a good race. I've always commentated around Jeddah, and every single race I've had around there, it's been quite thrilling, including a photo finish for a win once, so hopefully that might be the case. But go and enjoy your evening, Campbell.
Thank you, thank you.
You are very welcome indeed, and we'll now move on to the man who unfortunately was on the receiving end of Campbell's beating, and of course that was Justas, finishing in P2. And Justas, fantastic drive from your perspective. First question I've got to ask though, were you thinking you were going to be close enough down in towards Stowe on the final lap?
Yeah, I had all the battery I needed. I think I saw him get a bit of a not perfect exit out of the Maggots and Beckets. I thought I might get him. Yeah, he was derating, I think, halfway through the straight, and I thought I will definitely get him, but his straight line spin was crazy. I don't know. I don't know what he was running. He says 6.7, but I don't believe it. Yeah, he was really quick on the straight, and yeah, he covered the inside very well, and yeah, not much I could do there. So,
yeah, I think I said in commentary as well, if you were 5 tenths per second away, coming out of onto the Wellington straight, about halfway through the lap, I thought, honestly, you wouldn't have a chance of actually getting the race win, and that obviously proved it was just a tenth of a second, I think, between winning and losing in the differentiation, but still you lead the championship, of course, and that, I think, takes precedent over anything else, especially with a good podium like that.
Yeah, I'm happy with this. I wasn't expecting anything else other than the DRS train, so the qualifying was important. Yeah, I think Dylan was struggling at the start, so I got him quickly, and yeah, I was just on the aggressive strategy, trying to undercut and gain position. So yeah, P2, I'm happy. Was close to the win again, but yeah, I'll take the P2.
Yeah, still you hold the championship lead though, and speaking of next week, how do you think you're going to get on, of course, around Jeddah? Is it a particular favourite track for you?
Oh, I have not touched the track at all. Maybe 5 lappers, but yeah, it will take some time to get the setup right, and yeah, it will be difficult for now. We'll see.
We will see indeed, but go and enjoy your evening.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome indeed, and we'll now move on to the man who, of course, finished in P3, and that was Nathan. Nathan, of course, you qualified on pole position. You got the run down in towards turn 1 and 2. You held the lead for a majority of that race, but considering, obviously, I predicted you for the win in Portsmouth, you didn't. It feels like a sort of retribution back, of course, because you were very quick tonight.
Yeah, obviously relieved after The interesting luck I've had this season. Obviously Imola with Pens, Austria with whatever happened there, and Portimao. We don't speak about Portimao. But yeah, obviously happy to get a podium. Maybe a win thrown away because of not trying an undercut, but yeah, I think like a podium's a podium. Like you can't really be sad with a podium. So yeah, just happy to finally get kind of a big point score.
Yeah, definitely a big point score. Some of my drink, by the way, has just gone down the wrong way, which is very unfortunate. But obviously, a P3 finish for you, and I believe it's your first podium of the season as well, so you must be very happy with that.
Yeah, obviously, like I said, just this season's been a bit interesting. Obviously, had the pace really kind of most of the season. Obviously, Austria, I think, qualified P3, Portimao pole, here pole, so like the pace has been there, but it's just been a case of either bad luck or just kind of bad decisions. And yeah, maybe if I'd pitted the same lap as Justas or even earlier, maybe it might be different, because like as soon as you're the third car in a train, like unless you like force a move, which I almost managed to do, it was kind of game over. Like as soon as like I was speaking to Dan and he was just like, yeah, Justas has 100% ERS, and I was like, yeah, this is the best I'm probably gonna get. Obviously unless Lewis and Justas collided, which they actually kept it clean. So yeah, it was a pretty boring race, but from a driver's perspective, it was actually like quite like on edge, especially with your broom and obviously coming through.
Yeah, fantastic race, and obviously we got quite excited on the final lap of the race, of course, in terms of the action. Next week, of course, Jeddah. How do you think you're going to get on around there?
As your co-commentator knows, it is a very wheel track. So yeah, I would not be surprised if I qualify like 15th. The tracks. I think if you can nail it, like you can sort of do okay. But yeah, I think you're gonna see the likes of Justas and Lewis up there. Jensen probably will possibly be able to take pole or get a podium. I'd be happy with points, I guess. And then just see from there.
Yeah, hopefully a point scoring finish might be on the cards, and hopefully you can carry on your good form, of course, that you've now picked up a podium, and hopefully carry on that on through for the rest of the season. But go and enjoy your evening, Nathan.
Yeah, thank you both for comms.
Very welcome indeed, and that concludes probably the fastest interviews I think we've done in the history of League of Europe. Big thank you, of course, to Mr. Montana for joining me in the commentary box as always. An absolute thrilling prospect for the Grand Prix, of course, to be had. And overall, big thank you to everyone, for you, all of you guys, for your support and for tuning in at home. And of course, if you're brand new to the stream and you liked it, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're new. More action to come as well. F2 is going to be live very shortly, along with F5. And for F2, it is Mr. J. Cole and Mr. Daniel Hoggard taking to the action, of course. And for Division 5, it is Packer and RJ going to be taking to the action for Division 5 as well. So that is going to be quite thrilling, and hopefully it is going to be a very good race in both of their divisions as well. And we will end off tonight by saying these very 4 simple words. We stand with Ukraine. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.